You've heard it said before. Greatness comes at a cost. Success has a price, perhaps a steep price, perhaps a consistently steep price that sometimes feels like a tax. But the reframe I want to offer you in today's conversation is, what if the tax of greatness, the price, the cost of standing out and achieving all of your goals, wasn't something you viewed as a penalty or a burden, and instead an investment plan for your future self? Every early morning when nobody's watching, boom, deposit. Every tough round when your swing feels off, but you remain patient and present, another deposit. Every rejection email, lost deal, or tournament you fall short, another deposit. You see, greatness, it isn't built through hacks or highlight reels. It's built through quiet, consistent deposits of discipline, courage, and self-belief. And yeah, sometimes the market dips. You'll face setbacks, criticism, oh so much criticism, and a lot of feelings of isolation and loneliness. And this is part of the journey. These are the hidden fees of growth. The hidden fees that are baked in to your journey of standing out. But they're not punishments. This is the price you need to pay to access higher returns, higher levels of growth, success, achievement, and fulfillment. Because while most people panic and pull out of their endeavors and pursuits when things get tough, you stay invested. You ride the waves. You keep depositing. And over time, this compound interest, it starts to show in your patience, confidence, resilience, presence. You start walking taller, thinking clearer, swinging freer. You become more and more aligned with your authentic self. And when you're aligned with your authentic self, you attract abundance financially, mentally, healthily, in all of your relationships. So that's the power of compounding interest working in your favor. Every bit of pain, doubt, persistence, mornings where you don't feel like doing jack shit that you endure today, it can all be thought of as earning interest that your future self will cash in on as peace, freedom, and fulfillment. What's up, fellow golfer? Welcome back to another episode of the Scratch Golfer's Mindset Podcast. My name is Paul Salter, the golf hypnotherapist. I'm a mindset and performance coach who specializes in helping high performers just like you get unstuck out of your own way so you can unlock your potential. And just a few days ago, I had the honor of attending, let's call it a retreat, if you will. And there were many nuggets and takeaways that I extracted from one of the speaking sessions. And the one specific nugget I want to share with you that ties in so nicely to today's conversation about the price of greatness is suffering. Can you reframe that word to be seen and embodied as harnessing? Every time you suffer through a client deal gone wrong, another string of rejections, poor scoring rounds, rather than labeling this as suffering, can you begin to reframe these experiences as harnessing? Harnessing the resiliency you need to press onward. Harnessing the tools of patience, presence, and focus to stay in the game or still play the game. You see, all of these moments of suffering are really just full, rich experiences of harnessing, teaching, further acquiring the skills that you will need to get to the next level of success. And as you've heard me say for the umpteenth time, there is such an inherent power, magic in your word choice. Suffering invites in connotations and labels of woe is me, poor fucking me, this is so hard. Whereas harnessing is empowering. It's got a creator type of energy where you're enduring with a purpose. You're going through a challenge knowingly because on the other side is your fucking bit of gold, wisdom, and insight that's going to take you to the next level. So I wanted to share that because it was really profound and it stuck with me. And I think it really ties into this conversation that there is a price to greatness. In order to be outstanding, you need to stand out. And when you stand out, that creates a gap between your current inner circle, society, the average individual who, remember, average in society today is overweight, unhealthy, stressed, anxious, and broke. And I'll add on to that, usually possesses a victim mentality, woe is me. So when you desire and aspire to stand out, you begin to create a gap. And within that gap, you invite in criticism, judgment, resentment, hatred. And that further manifests as feelings of being understood. It can create pockets of isolation and loneliness along the journey. This is part of the journey. This is part of the price you pay to get to the next level. And that's what I need you to understand. And one of the best analogies to really help you begin to pick up what it is I'm throwing down on today's conversation is the crabs in the bucket analogy. And this is near and dear to my heart. I'm from Maryland. This is the only state that you are actually allowed to have the highest quality, best crab in the world. Maryland blue crab. You don't order crab at any other restaurant, any other state. Let me make that very clear. But when a single crab amongst many is in a bucket and this single crab begins to try and climb out of a bucket, the other crabs instinctively pull it back down. And not out of malice, but out of fear, because none of them want to see one crab, one compadre escape, because it threatens the comfort of the group's mediocrity and, to be frank, impending death. And I think we can really bring that into the equation of our conversation today. Like, if you're not growing, if you're stuck in a pattern of complacency and comfort, I don't know about you, but that kind of sounds like death to me. So the moment you start climbing towards greatness, whether that be a better golf game, a new level of impact or income financially in your business, your professional career, or just deeper self-mastery, other individuals, like here's one of the guarantees of life, whether it be friends, colleagues, even family members, will instinctively try to pull you back down. They'll question your obsession, your choices, your priorities, because your growth makes them confront their own stagnation, comfort, and complacency. When you are criticized and questioned, I need you to understand it's not about you. The person doing the criticizing, judging, and questioning, it's about them. It's about their own resentment for their lack of action, passion, or commitment to their own goals. Paying the tax of greatness in this case, though, means refusing to get dragged back down into the bucket. The higher you climb, the more resistance you'll feel. And it's not because you're wrong, but it's because you're leaving the bucket. And I love this too. I'm going to take the analogy one step further. And I want you to continue this analogy of climbing the mountain. As you climb higher up a mountain, the air gets thinner. Fewer people can breathe at that altitude. Most people turn back, and it's not because the view isn't worth it once they finally get to the top. It's because they didn't condition themselves to handle the elevation. Greatness, being outstanding or elite, It's rare because so few are willing to endure the thin air, the isolation, the exhaustion, the fear of failing. And the tax you pay is discomfort, loneliness, doubt, fatigue. And when you get to the higher altitude, fewer people can meet you there. That's why greatness feels lonely, yet it's so sacred. So as you continue listening and reflecting on your pursuit to be outstanding, just remember that the air gets thinner the higher you climb. And that's not punishment. That's proof you are rising. All of the challenges, the setbacks, the obstacles, both expected and unexpected, that you endure on your summiting to your mountain of greatness, they are all meant to condition you, to condition your lungs, your cardiovascular system, your muscles in this case, to be able to sustain the greater resistance, the thinner air that comes at the next summit. Now, I want to begin to unpack some of the nuanced taxes, prices, costs, if you will, that you're likely to experience the more you climb and the more you begin to create separation from the other crabs in your bucket. And first and foremost is the general experience of feeling isolated and lonely. You know, making a true impact and really rising to another level of success requires sacrifice. You can't be going out every Friday and Saturday night. You can't be sleeping in every Saturday and Sunday. There's a trade-off. There's trading the Friday night happy hour for an extra hour or two of work, or a quiet night in with your family so you can still get up at 4 a.m. and get a few hours of high quality work done before the remaining children or your wife or husband gets up for the day. And as you begin to accumulate and invest in yourself through these pockets of quiet solitude where you're able to tap into your intuition and creativity and do your best work, it's likely you begin to feel a sense of missing out, isolation, loneliness. I relate to this a lot. You know, for the vast majority of my life, I felt misunderstood. Because from a very young age, looking back, I was fucking strange. I mean, I'm skipping out on sleepovers at friends' houses, and maybe I'd go over there for a few hours, but come 11 or 12 o'clock, I'm driving home or I'm walking home. I'm sleeping in my own bed because I got shit to do the next morning. And this was as a high schooler. I got shit to do. I want to read. I want to work out. I want to go on a run. And I always felt misunderstood. I felt judged. My friends didn't get it. Like, dude, what are you doing? We're trying to drink beer and hang out and play video games till 4 a.m. I just never felt aligned. You know, that's kind of the theme of our last few episodes here. And I just want you to hear it. Sometimes that sucks. You know, we're all hardwired to belong. But there's a certain beauty in it. When you understand what you want, where you desire to go, and what's necessary to get there, you're able to reverse engineer taking the most aligned and effective action steps to get there. And when you're taking aligned action, there's a sense of harmony. There's a sense of internal peace, congruency, that allows you to feel a sense of pride, validation, and accomplishment with a deep knowing your purpose-driven sacrifices are worth it and they're paying off. So I urge you, when you experience those pockets of loneliness and isolation, first and foremost, know that you're not alone. And that's one of the few bright spots of social media, is those who are courageous enough to be raw and vulnerable and real. I know personally it's helped me connect with mentorship groups and like-minded individuals who get it. They're up early. They're trading in the alcohol, the social occasions for self-improvement, for connection with peers in a different way. A connection is so important. Yet at times, especially as you're in the process of growing and breaking away from the mold of average or complacency you were once stuck in, The process of rediscovering like-minded individuals can be tough. And I know for me, I started trading happy hours and late nights out with hanging out at the sauna and cold plunge place, yoga and a nutritious meal after the fact. I started spending more time doing what felt aligned for me, and that alignment helped me to begin attracting the right people into my life. So that when I broke away from one friend group, there was a period of time where it felt a bit lonely and challenging, but I started to attract and create another friend group, rich in connections with people who thought similar to me. And that's such a powerful, special feeling. So the takeaway I want you to really understand from this particular price of greatness is it's going to feel lonely and isolating at times. Cherish those moments. It's when you do your best work. It's when you're most connected with yourself. It's what gives you the best opportunity to get clear on who you are, what you want, where you're going, and to take aligned action steps accordingly. And just know that if you're feeling that sense of loneliness, there's plenty of people out there who are just like you, high performers, destined, committed to becoming the best version of themselves. Go hang out where you know you have an opportunity to better yourself, to enrich yourself physically, mentally, financially, emotionally, and trust you'll find your people. Second key price to greatness is being fucking misunderstood. Why do you eat the way you do? Why do you get up at 4 a.m.? Babe, it's 10 o'clock. Why are you trying to sink 50 putts right now? Just go to bed. Come to bed. Why are you up so early on the weekends? Do you ever stop? Do you ever slow down? Do you know how to have fun? Is this even worth it? Look, there's just a baked-in truth. You will be misunderstood the higher you try to climb. Because again, when you break the mold of average, comfort, and complacency, you create more space, distance, and separation between your old peer groups and circles. That space invites an opportunity for rejection, criticism, and judgment that, again, is never a reflection of you, yet a reflection of the individual doing the judging, the critiquing. So when you hear one variation of the comments I just shared, I have an imagination at a time in your life, maybe even currently, it felt triggering. Like, what the fuck? Who are you to judge what I'm doing? You know what I'm feeling? That anger, that bitterness, that resentment. But maybe there's a voice that's also present simultaneously that is like, yeah, she's right. Why am I doing this? Is it worth it? This is your opportunity. That trigger needs to become your teacher, because I've seen it so many times. I've experienced firsthand that the more and more you entertain hearing the criticism, the judgment, the offhand comments, the passive-aggressive remarks, the more you entertain those remarks, the more you begin to nurture and nourish the seeds of uncertainty and doubt that individual is trying to place in your mind. And that individual is doing it, whether they're aware of it or not, because they feel bad about themselves. They are coming up significantly short of their potential, and they're trying to get you to come back down so they feel a little better about themselves. You can't entertain it. You can't listen to it. The more you entertain it and ruminate on it and give it just an extra second of thought, the more you invite in uncertainty, doubt, and second guessing as to why you're up at 4 a.m. every Saturday and Sunday, why you're getting a workout in 6 days per week, and on and on. So when you hear those comments, understand it's about them. It's not about you. And allow that once triggering experience to serve as a teacher. Allow yourself to get curious and go inward. Why am I triggered? Why does her comment bother me? Why do I feel a rise in anger and bitterness and want to lash out in return? Fuck you, Sally. What have you ever done? Probably shouldn't react that way. You should slow down, breathe, and respond instead. And I wonder if you can find a smile. You know, every time someone makes that comment, they make that judgmental remark about what you do, why you do it. And just smile deep down knowing that hurt people hurt people. And that's just further validation that you're on the right track, because deep down you don't want to be anything like that person. You don't want their belief system. You don't want their habits. You don't want their attitude, or maybe many parts of their life in general. So just remember that that's a validation. That's a sign that you're on the right track. And if you can view it that way, you're going to find an abundance of fuel you didn't know even existed that you're able to tap into, that serves as a catalyst to help you continue moving in the right direction. The third major, let's call it category of taxes, prices. The price of greatness is really rooted in your ability to acknowledge, sit with, and overcome the fear, the uncertainty, and the doubt, the anxiety, the worry, that at times might always seem to be omnipresent in the background. And for many individuals, it's that fear, that doubt, that need or urge to prove others wrong, that anxiousness, am I going to make payroll? That can be a productive source of fuel in the short term. But it's not the most sustainable fuel. The best performers pay attention to their emotional energy. The anger, the frustration, the fear, the doubt, the second guessing, this is all part of the cost of leveling up. Yet, what the truly great develop an ability to do is to make sure that those emotions don't hijack the steering wheel of their decisions and actions. And instead, they make sure those emotions remain in the back seat, maybe even locked up in the trunk, or maybe kicked out of the car entirely. They understand rejection, setbacks, and uncertainty is part of the process. Yet, and listen closely to this, they've surrendered to the when, the how, and the process of getting to where they need to go. They're so incredibly clear about who they are, where they're going, and they're committed to the process they believe will get them there. Yet there's an underlying sense of surrender and trust, whether in a higher power, the universe, God, spirit, whatever their unique belief is, that so long as they keep doing and focusing what's on within their control, specifically they're managing their emotions and energy, they're going to get there exactly when they're supposed to get there. And every setback and obstacle is just another teaching moment. Every period of suffering is another moment to harness a deeper sense of resiliency, confidence, self-belief, and faith to get to that next level. I'm hoping that you're continuing to open your heart and your mind to my message here in this episode, this conversation. Because the further and further you strive to push, go, and achieve, the guarantee is you're going to run up to more criticism, more judgment, more obstacles, more resentment, and more feelings of loneliness. And if you begin to understand that this is simply an investment in your future self, every suffering is harnessing, every obstacle is a place to learn and grow, every period of enduring is teaching and evolving, you can begin to almost approach these circumstances with a bit of a smile, a bit of excitement, understanding that you're on the right path. These challenges are reminders. They're validating that you're doing what needs to be done. And I need you to hear that, because your goal is worth pursuing. You are deserving of everything you desire. You can't let the shortcomings, the hurt, the anger, the bitterness, and resentment of other people be the metaphorical crabs in your bucket that pull you back down. You've got to persevere and keep going. You've got to understand that every opportunity you experience an obstacle, a challenge, or a setback, every time it's there to teach you, it's there to help develop the prerequisite skills you need to get to the next level. Every deposit that you have ever made, every rep, every round, every rejection that you've risen above, Can you begin to see how all of these moments are sitting quietly in a bank account, compounding in your favor? Can you understand that baked into the process of greatness, there are going to be plenty of days and moments where it feels like the market is crashing? You might question your effort, the hours, the loneliness, the sacrifice. But that is when the best of the best truly double down. They trust the process, they trust time, they trust themselves, and they trust that returns don't always show up when they want them to, but they always show up when they've been earned. I remind you, when the pressure hits, the critics get loud and your beliefs start to waver. Remember that you're not being punished, you're being prepared. So stay invested. And this is one of the reasons I can't recommend enough that you have a daily practice of silence and solitude, completely cut off and removed from the noise, to sit and listen to yourself, connect with yourself. Remember, the voice of your subconscious mind, the infinite knowing, is silence. Can you journal? Can you meditate? Can you breathe? Can you just be? Because when you're able to do that consistently, you're able to better stay connected to and aligned with who you are, where you're going, what you want. And you're able to better not only accumulate, but ultimately access the compounding interest of patience, discipline, and persistence that you've been depositing day after day, week after week, and month after month. So whatever it is you are pursuing right now, no matter how challenging, daunting, or some days impossible it feels, keep making investments. Your future self is watching. And let me remind you, he's fucking proud of you and the investor that you're becoming. There's a price to greatness. It's always worth paying. I thank you so much for listening today. I hope this conversation sparked a little fire, reignited the flame within, your passion, your drive, your obsession with whatever your purpose is, whatever your calling is or you're meant to do in this time. I thank you for listening. And hey, if this riled you up, got you fired up, ready to rock and roll, share it with somebody you know, somebody you love and care about. Be the gift that they need, the spark that they need to continue pressing on, even if times are tough. And if my message continues to resonate with you, I ask that you take 30 seconds to leave a genuine rating on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to today's episode. Make today great, have a fantastic week, and I'll catch you in Thursday's episode.